Welcome back to the BVarsity Live Super Show. Segment number, is this segment 6 already? My goodness, we're flying through. Yeah. Segment 6 with a new coach. It's Liberty head coach Bryan Nixon. We could probably spend 4 hours with this guy talking about everything you've got coming back. A fantastic 2014 season, and now expect big things for 15. Let's get right into it. I think we'll start the one, well, actually there's a couple, but one of the guys you're really going to miss is Anthony Mariscal, who's our player of the year last year, who's at Arizona. But it's a weird situation for you because even there, you have a guy in Quincy Jowney ready to step in on offense. You have a couple of guys on defense. It just feels like it's the next man up situation for you, which is every coach's dream. How excited are you about the group you have coming back?
Really excited. You know, we have a lot of senior leadership this year. We have a lot of returning guys and guys that
get up on that mic, Bryan.
Guys that didn't even, they played. They're returning and they didn't start per se, but they got a lot of experience. And to have that many guys that had game experience come in and be able to participate and show the guys what it was like last year is pretty exciting for us.
And last year, just to dwell on it for a minute, a really special group to you. The other guy, really notable guy you lost was Braylon Scott. You also had Ruben Guerra, who's 3 Division I guys move on, and then a few others, your secondary. But did you see that coming last year? I know you knew you'd be good. Did you know you'd be that good? Did you know you'd go beat Mission Viejo and beat Bakersfield twice and make a Valley title game, be right there to win it?
You know, we have that scary word called potential, and
right.
we knew that at the beginning of the year. And that group really gelled together. I mean, they came together. They were really tight. They responded to one another, and they just loved to compete. So I think that's what made last year so special. And we kind of talked about that this year. Is those guys kind of set the bar for you, how things are going to act, how you're supposed to respond to each other, and hopefully our kids can continue on with that.
And with the 3 D1 guys left, you got, I think, at least 3 D1 guys on this team. Chris Barnes is the headliner who's committed to UCLA. He's your linebacker. The guy is just phenomenal out there. I mean, he's a true sideline-to-sideline type linebacker.
Definitely. He's big. He's fast. He's smart. You know, he's a quarterback of our defense, could probably play receiver or tight end, maybe even some running back. So, you know, to have a guy like that on your team to be that leader for you is really exciting because he's – to be 6'3", 220 pounds, and run as well as he does.
We're talking UCLA, and you mentioned it. Are we going to see a little Miles Jack where we might see him at running back a little bit, or situations? Have you talked about that with him? I don't want you to give away any secrets here.
Oh,
but
you're asking a lot of us right now.
Well,
give me some secrets.
You can plead the fifth, too.
He has been working some receiver. He did play tight end for us last year. So there's some things we're going to use. I mean, to have an athlete like that, so spectacular, we got to be able to use him.
Sure. And then the other guys I'm thinking of, Jordan Love, your quarterback, is committed to Utah State. A guy who wasn't even the starter at the start of last year, but when he became the starter, he really embraced the position, and I felt like matured a lot as the season went on.
I think the best thing about Jordan now is he has confidence. You know, he's a very shy young man. He's very quiet. We call him Smooth Jazz because he's just so laissez-faire in some things, but he's a true competitor when it comes down to it.
And he can make some music, too, out there when things get going. And then the third guy is only a junior, but Curtis Brown on the defensive line can really be an anchor even as a junior of that unit.
Definitely. You know, Curtis is a big physical young man that has very good feet for 6'2", 285 pounds. Moves very well. You know, he could play some fullback. He could play some tight end as he did last year, and we can use him on both sides of the ball.
And we talked about Ruben Guerra leaving, but the other 4 starters on the offensive line are back, which makes your eyes light up, I'm sure, as a coach, knowing, hey, if we can fill in the skill position players, that part of it you feel pretty good about.
Definitely. You know, they've had a year in the scheme, and they played 14 games last year, and were able to gel together as a unit. And as you always talk, you know, football's one up front, and to have 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen coming back is a blessing for our offense, especially with the knowledge they have.
Go through the rest of the position groups. So the one we haven't hit, probably the secondary, and that might be the one that's a concern a little
Definitely.
bit?
You know, we lost our entire secondary. So to have some guys come in and make plays, and we've had a lot of guys rotating right now. So, you know, they're having to pick it up quick. They had a great summer, and that was really encouraging for us. So they're flying around and they're figuring things out. So to have that front 7 in front of those guys helps.
I was going to ask you that. How much can that front 7 take the pressure off of those guys until maybe league play and they're ready to sort of get thrown into the fire?
Well, you hope it takes a lot.
Of course, you play Mission Viejo week 1, so speaking of being thrown into the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It takes a little bit of pressure off them because that front 7 is going to cause that quarterback to get rid of the ball, or at least we hope. And, you know, that's going to make them run the ball. If they try to run it at us, our front seven is probably our strength. So they're going to have to throw the ball, so we'll know when to expect some of those things.
Coach, I've been around a little while now in Bakersfield. You've been around longer than I have, obviously. I know you're an understated guy. Do you allow yourself somewhere in your mind to think big about this season? Hey, we have the team to go somewhere real special.
Once again, we have that P word, that potential, and it's about coming together as a unit. But, yeah, we can get excited about them. I mean, I really get excited about the unit we have. They're a great group of kids. They work hard. They're fun to coach. They like being out there, which is half the battle, and they want to compete. So, yeah, we get a little excited.
Does it remind you a little bit, and I know you don't have the quarterback who's Cody Kessler necessarily, of that 2010 Centennial team where it just seemed like the pieces were in place. And, man, for 6 weeks or so there, you guys were just playing unbelievably.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about that as a staff, about some of the things, and I think there's a chance that we could be better than that team, just because of the particular people in place. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Hopefully we can finish better than that team did.
If you're better than that team, you're pretty darn good. But like you said, the ending wasn't necessarily happy for that group. So that's going to be the question mark that will be answered. So
I think it's really kind of understated still on how important Quincy Jounty is to your team. I mean, this is a kid that, Bryan, you talked about how he's a campus leader for you, and he's not a quiet guy, and he's a guy that's just kind of sat and waited in the wings the last 2 years on the varsity level, and now it's his year to shine. I mean, for you as a head coach, this is the type of kid that you want to coach up, that you're excited to see him play in, 15 days, right?
Definitely. We talked about it. Quincy is a on-campus leader. He's an off-campus leader. He's our football leader, and he's a guy you root for. And he's done his job. I mean, he's prepared himself to have a breakout year. And that's something that's really exciting for us to look at, and he's an easy guy to root for. So we look for great things out of him, and he's big, physical, and hopefully by the fourth quarter, guys won't want to tackle him.
And in many ways grew up in the Liberty program with his brother Corbin playing there for 3 years on varsity for you as well. Who's a guy, you have so many returners, maybe a guy who steps up and becomes one of those star players this year. Is it Matt Hubble? We haven't mentioned your leading returning receiver, but give us a name or two of guys who we'll learn about.
Matt Owens and Matt Hubble are two guys that come to mind. Matt Owens played some receiver for us last year, played some DB, got ill, kind of set him back a little bit. Okay. But, he's doing a great job for us in the secondary. Braxton Prince is another guy that got some time sparingly, and he's doing great in the secondary right now at corner, and he's going to play some offense. So there's three guys there that I think could really step up and shine.
Let's talk about the schedule, and it's a dandy.
Hey, Bryan, was that Owens yesterday that made that kind of diving catch off to the right side yesterday? John, if you want to run the rest of that video. Okay. Yeah, so we actually had video of that. If we roll through this, I mean, that was a pretty impressive catch, and that's a kid that's going to play both sides of the ball because you have him starting at cornerback too, right?
Definitely.
So, I mean, you look at a guy that there's a lot of pressure on him to kind of get this thing going, and do you look for guys like that and get excited about them, knowing that, because of that front seven, that they'll have a little leeway there too to kind of get used to this? Or
yeah, we try to not really put all the pressure on our front seven. We want our secondary to be as solid as they can, so we have 11 guys that are solid on the football field. But it's going to give him a little chance to break in. Plus, he had some time last year, which is going to help him.
Yeah.
You have leaders, I think, who buy into what you're preaching, and that's crucial. Is it? Maybe this is the catch we're talking about here.
Nope, it'll come up right after that. So who's number 26 for you? Because he was out there running around a lot for you.
That's Braden Aaron. He's a junior this year.
Yep. Here's the catch right here. So Jordan kind of just dumps it out to him. So this is a fun catch you like to see in practice. So,
there you go. Yeah. But your leaders, Chris, Jordan. Maybe even Curtis is a junior. Some of the other guys, Matt, they've sort of embraced it, and that filters down through the team. Am I correct?
Yeah, it does. And, it can go one of two ways. If we take days off, they see some of our leaders taking days off, so we can't take days off. But they have embraced that moment, and they know what's in place, that if we do take days off, we aren't going to reach our goal.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule, speaking of goals, because if you take days off, you will pay for it, I think.
Where do
against
you
this
take
schedule.
a day off in that schedule? I don't know.
Mission Viejo, of course, is a state-ranked team like you guys probably will be to start the year. That's a real fun game to have at home. I mean, what a cool thing for your campus.
Pretty exciting. We're going to play all 3 games on Saturday. So our freshmen are going to start the day off at 2:30, and
Awesome.
Our JVs will go at 5, and then we'll finish off at 7:30.
There's no college football that day yet, so I mean, this is like if you love football, you better get to Liberty, and you better get there pretty early. At Ridgeview the next week, that was the one that got you last year. You beat Mission Viejo down there, turned some heads around the state, I think, and then you said it yourself, lost just a little bit of focus, and against a good Ridgeview team, that hurt you.
That's something we always go back to. You know, we kind of left our heads down in Orange County, and when we came home, you know, we didn't have a very good week, and we can't allow that to happen this year. We have to be week in and week out.
Central, always so talented. Buchanan, we know has talent. They're probably on the upswing. Cathedral Catholic, how'd you pick that game up?
It just happened. We were really struggling getting a 5th game in our preseason, and they called, and we looked, and it worked. So we said, why not?
Do you know about them?
Yeah, I did after we had spoke. They're a pretty good football team.
And then the league, you know, I was talking to Paul Gola, the BHS coach, yesterday. This league, we say it every year how tough it is. It just seems like everybody is making progress. I mean, everybody's got a new coach in there who seems like he's got the ball rolling in the right direction. We'll see about A.J. Gass at Garces his first year. But, man, it just – every year you look at it and there is not a breather. Maybe Garces last year, that felt like an anomaly, though. But,
right.
You know, you're going to get tested, and now you're the ones with the target on your back, right?
Definitely. And that's the best part about being in this. You know, I think you want to be that team that has the target on the back. I don't think you want to be the team that's just trying to hope they slip up and catch somebody. We just want to bring it day in and day out, and then in our league, you have to.
I think, is that right? 3 road games in a row to end the season. That's
tough.
That's going to be the gauntlet. Of course, you get the nice 4 in a row at home before that, but that's a heck of a schedule. It's a heck of a team. We talked about that 10 team, maybe the 09 team before that. I know Cody was hurt for part of that year. It has the same feeling preseason a little bit, where you have the expectations, and you try to walk that fine line between embracing them and buying too much into them.
Right. Well, we either believe the hype or we be the hype, and that's something we've kind of talked about. That if you believe the hype and you think you're on top already, there's only one place to go, and that's down. So we have to work like we're trying to get to the top. So our saying right now is, you're on the mountain. Now it's time to climb.
You got to play that the old playground game, King of the Mountains. Everybody's
right.
going to try to push you off. So before we go, I did want to – Cody Kessler is senior year at USC, and I know you're real close with Cody and his family still. How special has it been? This just – I know it's cool to see one of your former Chargers start at USC, but this just has to go above and beyond anything. The fact a Heisman candidate breaking school records at one of the most storied quarterback schools in the country. What else is there to say? I don't even know.
I'm just, really proud of the young man. Just to look at what he's overcome in the 5 years that he was at USC, and to see how he's persevered through all that, and where he's put himself in the position this year to be on all those watch lists. And I couldn't be more prouder, and what a great young man he's turned into be.
And you talked to him about it, and he just sort of shrugs everything off like
Right.
it's his same old Cody it was 6 or 7 years ago out at summer practice at Centennial. So Bryan Nixon at Liberty, you got another great team, and we'll be following you real close, starting with that Saturday night game right here on Bakersfield.com. We'll have that Mission Viejo Liberty game. Bryan, thanks for joining us, and best of luck this year.
Zach, Trevor, thank you guys. And once again, from us, we always appreciate everything you do for our kids in our county.
Well, thank you for saying that. And speaking of USC, up next, Jason Oliver, former USC star himself, and now the head football coach at Foothill High School. He's up next on the BVarsity Super Show.